Hi, so here's my question. Is it too early to be talking about a post-COVID-19 future? No, according to Neil Ascherson, writing in today's Observer. Neil, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly if you happen to come across this video. In the article, Neil argues that the world of tomorrow, the world we want to create post the virus, isn't going to happen by magic. It requires our active involvement and active engagement. And it was heartening to read the article because this has been the fundamental question that I've been, if you like, not wrestling with, but certainly has been the focus of my attention over the last few weeks and months. And it's the question that's been the driving force of why I set up this YouTube channel. I wanted to kind of explore this notion of what is the world that we want to inhabit post the virus. Now, what was fascinating as well in Neil's article is that he describes the current pandemic as a little bit like being in a sleep state, and that at some point we're going to wake up from this sleep state. And I was reminded, I guess, of Inception, one of my most favorite films. In that film you had Leonardo DiCaprio and the other actors creating what they call dream worlds and bringing people into the dream worlds, making these dream worlds as real as possible, so those who were brought into the dream world didn't question it, didn't notice, didn't see anything unusual about the dream state. And I guess there's something for me here then about what happens if indeed Neil is right, that this is the virus and the time of the virus that we're going through now is a little bit like being in a dream state. What happens when we wake up? What is the world that we want to create when we wake up? And it strikes me equally that there's a number of things going on that we're going to have to make choices about. For example, this morning as I was going to the shop to do my usual Sunday, and hopefully I won't be shamed by neighbours. Apparently there's something called lockdown shaming going on now, where people are ringing the police and informing on their neighbours if they go out. But Sundays, my routine has always been to go and grab my Sunday paper from the local shop, which is literally a minute's walk. I was putting on my plastic glove because the local shopkeeper has asked all the shoppers to wear plastic gloves. And I noticed a couple of neighbours coming in my direction. And as they were walking towards me, both of them took incredibly wide berths, one to the extent that they ended up walking into the middle of the road. And rationally, I know, they're doing this because of social distancing. Obviously, they're just obeying the rules. But at the same time, my emotional brain is saying, what the hell is wrong with me? Why are these people choosing to, maybe take their lives in their hands if cars come down the road, walking in the middle of the road just to avoid being anywhere near me? Do I smell? Is there something on my face? Do I look intimidating or threatening? And I know it's crazy, isn't it? It makes no sense, but that's the kind of emotional part of my brain wrestling with the rational part of my brain. But my reason for raising this was to really just to think about, so imagine for a moment that tomorrow morning lockdown goes and once again we're able to get out into the world and start being normal again. How is that going to work? Will we suddenly stop doing social distancing and start being in proximity with each other again? Or will it take us some time to get back into a situation of being comfortable where we walk close to each other? I think it's just going to be a fascinating period of change that we're going to be going through. And during that period of change, I guess there are some things, it strikes me, we're going to need to make some choices about. If we're going to maintain things like social distancing in the future, what are the implications of that for who we are, for our culture, for our society, for the way we behave with each other in the future? Another thing to reflect on, we've given a lot of praise and high fives to our NHS and public sector, the police, for example. Our local residents group wants to have a standing ovation on Wednesdays for our refuse collectors, the people who empty our bins every week, because they've kept going. We've not had any missed services. Everything has operated as normally as possible. And in all of this, what I'm sensed is that we have praised and given plaudits to our public sector and our public servants. And yet, not long before this, we used to not want to pay more taxation so that we can invest in our public services. We wanted to have trimmed back public sector. And now we're praising them. Now we're valuing them. When this is over, will we continue to value them in the same way? Or will we say, oh, but that was then, when there was a need, and this is now? When politicians start saying, oh, taxation will have to rise in order to pay off the debt. We need to go back into austerity in order to pay off the debt. What are we going to say then? Are we going to say we're all in it together? Or, well, it's not of my making, so I shouldn't have to be taxed any more than I'm taxed now. Now, I don't want this to sound like any kind of party political or even political video, because that's not its intention. My point really is to say, at some point, we're going to have to make choices. We're going to have to make choices about what is going to be acceptable to us and not acceptable to us. Whether we're prepared to pay increased taxes, for example, for public services, so that never again is going to be our theme. Never again are we going to have or be in a position where we've had to bail out public services that have had massive underinvestment over the years. Is that what we're going to say? Are we going to make that kind of choice? And are we going to be prepared to stand by that when the going gets tough, if you like? So my point in all of this really is to say there are decisions we're going to have to make, choices we're going to have to make about the kind of future we want to have. So I hope this topic is something you'll find of interest. And if so, I hope you'll join me for the launch of Tuesday Tonic. It's the very first time I'll be doing a live YouTube conversation. So I do look forward to hearing from you and hoping to see you there. It goes out on Tuesday, 21st of April at 3 p.m. UK time. Hit the subscribe button to be given reminders or to be sent reminders. And also you can join via the Zoom platform, and instructions on how to do that are in the description box below. I hope you'll be able to join me. In the meantime, stay safe.